So this is on like a VHS back home?
Yeah. Old VHS.
Oh my gosh.
Oh my gosh.
Welcome back to Ramblin. I'm your host, Peter Canali, and who's this dapper man to my left?
Hey everyone, I'm Ryan Irving. I'm Peter's co-host.
And today, we have a very special guest for you guys. Somebody who has been highly anticipated, highly asked for since we started this show. Really.
Yeah, it's been about a year we've been trying to land this guest. Very high profile, celebrity guest.
He blew us off once, but
No.
we're no hard feelings. You guys have asked, and we have delivered. So I'd like to formally welcome to the show, Mr. Jennings.
Woo! Awesome.
Thanks.
Yeah, there we go.
Yeah,
Let's
thanks
get
for
some
that.
buttons.
Okay. All right. Well, anyway, Mr. Jennings, you've had a very storied career before your time at Fordham Prep and during your time at Fordham Prep. So let's just start with your career before Fordham Prep.
Okay.
We know that you acted a little bit in a few.
Was a professional working actor.
Peter.
So there's a big difference between an actor and a working actor.
Mm-hmm.
So because a lot of people think they're actors and they're out sunning themselves in the park saying, "Oh, I'm an actor," and then they have to go to their waiter's job that evening. So they're not working at acting. So acting requires work every day. So there was even an affirmation that I would say I'm a good natural TV, film, and theatrical actor. I'm a happy, positive-minded person. I love people. I also love myself. I enjoy every aspect of my career, and I do something every working day towards the accomplishment of my goals. And so you would feed yourself that to say, because you can't just expect to get a part without working at getting a part.
Yeah.
And a lot of actors, I think, people that come to New York don't understand that you have to work at getting your name out there. You have to work at mailing pictures. You have to work at doing an off Broadway show that no one attends except your family.
Reminds me of our football games here.
But it gave you something to write about, to say I'm in a show that you're working at working, and I think that was the difference in how I was able to get to the next level, in that. But I was also very fortunate. I used to write little stupid skit comedy at work, and I wrote a book called Video Days, and it was all about how everything's going to be controlled by electronics. And now here it is. You can turn on your cooking utensils from your phone, right? That was like bizarre.
When did you write this book?
Back in the early 80s. Okay, and I did it. And I did another book where I would be golfing through Manhattan from rooftop to rooftop golf, and I actually would play it at night and with friends. And but we did a women's tour, and the whole book was and short film had to do with women doing from Tiffany's to Bergdorf's to Bonwitz to Macy's, and they would get hair and makeup done as they played through Manhattan, And so I took pictures of me playing golf all around Manhattan, and I would have police officers, could you just stand behind me and pretend like you're making a ruling on this shot that's on a grading? Or I had all the security at Rockefeller Center going shh to the crowd, and a whole crowd behind me going shh with, all as if it's like a real golf tournament. And I had a ball on one of the porpoises at Rockefeller Center, or on top of the 9 on the Avon building there, or whatever, on 57th and on 57th Street between 5th and 6th. And so I did this whole golfing book, and I was doing all this skit stuff. And I met a friend of mine, a friend that I worked with, said, you should join us for improv. And I was like, what's improv? And they said, well, just come and you'll see. So I did, and they then started, doing, improv comedy, and you learn sort of tricks of the trade, and which I applied to teaching some days. But the thing about it was, one night we were performing, and I got a card from an agent. And it was from David Coakley from J. Michael Bloom Agency, and was the leading talent agent in town. And turned out when I went to meet with him the next day, he was the brother to my English teacher in high school, who was Brother Coakley.
Wow.
Brother Coakley's brother gave me a start. Okay,
That's
they have to go
incredible.
to Catholic school to figure that one out. So I said, your brother was the only teacher to ever hit me in high school.
That's a great icebreaker.
Right. And so we started laughing, and probably 45 minutes later, he said, "Listen, when something comes up, I'll definitely call you." And of course, 3 weeks went by and nothing. And then finally one day he calls and he said, "I've been trying to get in touch with you for 2 days. I have this audition that you're perfect for." And it was 1986 at the time, 1985 or 86. And it was for a priest playing basketball. And the week before,
I'm sorry. Wait. I feel like I need some context for the commercial. a priest playing basketball.
What was the
in a Coca-Cola
Yeah, what's being
Coca-Cola
advertised?
for a Coca-Cola commercial.
a Coke commercial?
Yeah.
Do you have that?
Priest
one?
playing
have it.
basketball.
You have that one?
Coca-Cola.
And the week before, an agent had asked me, "How do I see myself in my first commercial?" And I said, "Probably playing basketball." And they said, "How else do you see yourself?" I says, "Probably like as a priest or a cop or a fireman, or a doctor or a lawyer, a yuppie, And then, so within 4 weeks, I had 4 commercials as a priest, a doctor, and a yuppie.
That is insane.
And a chemist.
That's
Mr.
awesome.
Mr. I hate to say it, but you're begging the question. What did these commercials look like? Do you have them?
I
Can we
do
watch
have
them?
I have them right here.
I'm so
If
excited.
you'd like to see some of them, I don't know how you would screen them.
No,
Colin takes care
got
of
it.
it.
Colin's
I have been looking forward to this moment.
Yeah, this is Colin's wizardry right now. This is on like a VHS back home.
Yeah. Old VHS.
Oh my gosh.
Oh my gosh. Come look. I got some.
The thirst for greatness.
You got some skills, Mr. Jennings.
Okay.
All right.
And why Coca-Cola is part of the Olympic dream.
Hey, that's buy him and one. That's and one. Oh my
You
god.
can't beat the feeling.
You got great
A
fundies,
few
Fred.
words on leading to success.
Things are happening so fast right
Oh my
Business
god.
is
No way.
Most local papers, there's no depth, no substance. I need relevant information every day.
Today's Wall Street Journal. Faster, tougher, smarter. Try this special journal offer. Get 2 free weeks with no obligation.
Big
I was
companies.
fast.
Yeah, these are big.
Oh, I only did the biggest.
That's
Not kidding.
absolutely free.
You do have a very favorable rent negotiated by the previous
So
landlord.
this is my part
That
on
should
All
have
My
left you able
Children.
to cover any
Oh my
liability.
children, what's that?
It was a
You want
soap
me out,
opera
is that it?
Oh, we have to
in the
maximize our
afternoons.
return.
So I had a recurring role.
Pretty good with
Huh.
cheap contractors and minimum insurance.
You passed on insurance too, Kelly. It's business. You take risks.
What about you, Langombardi, huh? You take risks?
Now watch my chin.
Because you short me on this. You make me your enemy.
What'd you do? You punch this guy in the face before?
You want to take that risk?
We
'Cause
go
I'll
at
get you. And I'll get you where it hurts.
What's going on?
These are national television.
Here
Yeah,
every
it was
need.
a TV show.
I'll
That's right, that's what
always
TV
recognize you as an individual. I'm committed
What's
to
what's
a
going on?
long-term relationship.
What's going on?
Called The
I have
Proposal.
millions of dollars at my disposal.
Yeah, you do, Mr.
So what do you
Jennings.
say?
Yes.
Yes. I'd like to open an account.
Oh!
It's a good one.
That is a good one.
Babysitting the kids. We're painting. The phone rings. It's my bank.
Best
No.
know in the
No,
business,
they
they
were just
say.
checking up to see if everything was
Yeah,
okay.
big
So
parts
then she
of
asked me if I
business.
got my checks. I hadn't
You're
gotten
always
the
the
checks. She said they
you're always
probably
like the
got
main
lost
guy.
in
You
the
never
mail,
like
and she was
to-
sending
Oh.
out new checks right
Yeah,
away.
yeah,
And then she
It's the only
asked
way
me
to be,
if
really.
there was
Now watch
anything
this.
that they could do for me.
Your bank called you at home on Saturday.
That's right. Can you believe it?
No.
Did your bank do that?
No.
Understanding what service is all about. That's not just banking. That's
Citibank? Oh.
Sorry for that, sir. I'm
So this was
Dr. Dan
to
Willett, how
show
can I
that you
help?
could work with a child
This is my son,
on
Robert
set.
Jr.
And that's how you
He's
got
got
your
a
start in
rash,
some shows.
and I figure
That
it's
you
an
were
allergy or
not
something.
over
Let's see.
you could handle anything and not
I'm gonna recommend a
outshone by a kid.
dermatologist, okay? Okay.
And it's like how they get your feet wet. So this was I then ended up with a recurring role on this show for 10 months as another character. But it was sort of like, this was sort of like my screen test.
Okay.
This is who you see, and just
This guy lasted
tell them
3
that you
weeks because he
spoke
was
to me in
late
clinic.
twice.
Thanks a lot. You're sure, you bet.
This
If
guy
you're
was like
late
a
5
real
minutes,
cool
it costs
guy.
$15,000.
George, you're an independent insurance
God.
agent.
Right.
You don't favor any one company. You recommend the one best suited to your clients.
Really?
And a good independent agent doesn't just go on price because he knows.
This is unbelievable. Like,
That-
what other
that's
teacher?
true. That's
So,
true, though.
being a good independent agent, you probably recommend USF&G because of their reputation for superior service.
Ooh, look at that.
Oh, all right. Should we want to cut this really quick?
Hey,
One
No,
more.
one more.
If your agent recommends us, you've earned it.
Can I buy you lunch?
no thanks.
Dinner?
No.
Oh my
God.
gosh.
Wait, is that the Dunkin' Donuts, the donuts guy?
No,
Oh.
I was the guy in the car.
Constitution Healthcare.
Oh, there he is. I need to clap.
Dude,
Wow, that was so cool.
that's amazing.
You know, I told a faculty member. I mean, I'll say Mr. Pedro. I ran into Mr. Pedro in the theater, and I said, "Yeah, we're having Mr. Jennings on Ramblin this Thursday," and Mr. Pedro said, undoubtedly, that Mr. Jennings is one of the, if not the most interesting faculty member here. And I mean, like, what other teacher?
I think Mr. Pedro is way more interesting, way more brilliant. You know.
I mean,
Well,
that's
that's the kind of guy
unbelievable.
you are. Very.
So I mean,
humble.
I don't know how much
Very
time we have to.
We have
keep-
plenty of time, right?
Well,
We got time.
okay, great, yeah. So I mean, so how? I just have so many questions. Like,
A lot of prayer.
yeah.
Okay, so again, I told you of an affirmation I would say, but I also pray to Saint Teresa every day. Remember your promise to make good things on earth. Drop your shower of roses on those who are in need.
Oh,
Show
yeah.
them the gracious kindness of your heart.
Never forget that.
And you say that, I say it 25 times. I say it every morning because you worry and you're scared at times. Life throws you different things, and you're never always sure of how each day will play out or how you will affect someone that you care about or that and or a student, and you don't want to hurt someone. You want to help them. And as a teacher, kids worry. We all worry, and some more than others, and you don't want to stress them out. And I think helping them, give them a prayer that has always worked for me. Like, how lucky could I be to have Brother Coakley's brother and have a story as well. His brother was a big influence on my brother. He was the head of National Honor Society, and my brother was National Honor Society, and said to him one day, "You should be a doctor." My brother's a doctor now. He should be an actor. His brother says to me, and I, next thing I'm an actor.
That's unbelievable.
So, but a lot of I used to go to St. Patrick's every day. Anytime I pass by, you walk in, you light a candle to a loved one who's passed away. You go to light a candle at St. Teresa, say the prayer for 25 times. Go to St. Joseph because I was getting. As I was an actor, we were having children, so I'd say a prayer to St. Joseph. Oh, St. Joseph, his protection is so great, so strong, so prompt, before the throne of God, I place in you all my interests and desires. And it's a much longer, but you pray too, and it takes away your fears, and it gives you hope, but then also they're answered. Prayers get answered, and so you keep holding on to what you think is the best that you can be. And I think in acting, I always wanted to be a high school teacher and a track coach. So the journey in life took me different directions, and it kept calling me back, kept calling me. It never left. So that I remember being on the set of the show, One Life to Live, where I was the bell captain at the Buchanan Palace. Your parents might know the Buchanan Palace. So
just casually,
So, and it was like I was on a dolly, and even though I'm sitting right where you are, I suddenly felt like I was this far away. And it was like, I did this. It's not what I planned, in a way. It sort of came my way because, I was having fun. But I want to teach, you know. And so I did start teaching acting, but I would have students or kids, young people come in who did not read well. And as a result, I thought, wow, someone really messed up in high school. They don't know how to read, and when you're given a script, those people on TV shows memorize 40 pages in one night. And I'd be given a script a week advance of them, and I only had, like, say, 5, 6 to 10 pages maximum. And I fretted over those pages where they would get the script the night before and be on set the next morning. And so I thought, here it is again, high school, you know, I'm meant to be in high school. And so I taught acting for a while, 3-4 nights a week. And even that night, I remember one night someone came in. She was really talented, really, but did not read well. You could tell she had it, but had pizzazz, but really didn't enunciate, or very Queens, Long Island-y. And you're like, oh, that's a shame, because you could put her in some spots, but she couldn't get any parts unless there was no speaking required. And so the agent and casting director, I used to bring in the top, David Coakley, I'd bring in the top talent agents and casting people in New York and that I had worked with, and they would interview them and audition them. And I remember just rolling out again. It was almost the exact same feeling as, like, it's time to start looking at life. Like, I should be teaching high school and coaching track. You know,
look at you now. I mean,
living the dream.
Yeah,
living the
incredible.
dream. So I think that's probably that kind of energy. That's why I love being here at Fordham Prep. I sent my kids to Fordham Prep before I taught here, before I was even a teacher. I sent 3 of my sons, and then I started here when my youngest son was a sophomore, and as a result, it was just a blessing because he had a lot of issues, health issues, and it was important. I think the principal at the time understood that it would be really a good idea that if I was around, if anything were to happen to him, I would be here. And so that was that's the kindness shown to me, and that's, you can't. How do you repay that too? You know, you do the best you can with everyone else. You know, so these, but so yeah, so very blessed.
The audio right there.
A lot of prayer, a lot of, you know, it doesn't come easy. Nothing comes easy, but it's, as I said, it's kind of like fishing. Best part of fishing is the struggle, you know. Yeah. And then after the struggle, it's like, okay, now what do we do? Take the picture of the fish and try to catch another fish, you know. So keep the struggle. You know, struggle's good. Wow.
We have so many questions just based off like the two speeches that you've gone on. But I have one that my friends on the track team would kill me if I didn't ask. Okay, is it true that you ran a 13:13 at Van Cortlandt Park?
No, it's not true. 13:18.
13:18. Oh, excuse me.
I don't know track times like that. Yeah. So is that like
I don't know either, but everybody was like, "There's no way that he ran that."
Yeah. And I was the one of the slowest guys on my team. You know, so yeah, I thought wasn't that good. I find out years later that was really a good time. But back then, it's always like if you can't break, you're always trying to break 13. Yeah. And to be 18 seconds away seems like an eternity. But if you were to watch that on film, 18 seconds, it's like nothing. Yeah. You know, but it meant everything back then. And what's really interesting is my son's pretty much around the exact same times as I did, you know, and so it's kind of wild that you get to relive your childhood.
What got you into track to start with?
When I was in middle school, in junior high school, my friend Daryl, who now is the track coach, one of the track coaches at Regis, so we hang out every weekend since we were in grammar school.
You shout him out if he's watching.
So that's Daryl Everett, okay? One of the finest people I've ever met in my whole life. Awesome. And Daryl, Chucky Watson used to steal my lunch every day and throw it at me because I was very smart.
Little did he know who you would become, famous actor.
So one day Chucky took my lunch again and threw the apple at me, and I ducked, and it hit Daryl in the ear. And Daryl just said, "Chucky, don't you ever do that again." And he said, "F you" to Daryl, and Daryl walked over and punched him. And he sent him over 2 chairs, 2 miles. If I showed you pictures, there's pictures of Daryl there, I'm pretty sure. But so Daryl Darryl was like my protector, right? My bodyguard in a way, but also he was smarter than me, so he would help me in school. And then we started hanging out, and his mom, when I was choosing a high school, my brother was already it was called Power Memorial, and he chose that. We sort of chose it together. We're only 10 months apart, my brother and I. He said, could we get to ride the subways? And wow, that's great. So, so that was the best part. And so Darryl's mom said, if that's where the Jenningses are going to high school, that's where you're going to high school. So then Darryl and I then ended up going to high school together. And he was world class. He was going to run track. And then I asked my mom if can I run track? And she's like, no, you can't run track. I said, but Darryl's going to be with me. And she says, are you going to be with him every night on the trains? And he goes, yeah, we're going to, go to school. Okay, if Darryl's with you, then you can go. So I wasn't, because of Darryl running, I joined. Mm-hmm. And now we both coach. He coaches at Regis, I coach here. Chris Feblis is the head coach at Regis. Darryl's the assistant. George Feblis is the head coach here. I'm the assistant.
That's awesome.
So it's neat. And I have a picture of me. I don't know, is it here? But when I was winning a race, the guys holding the finish line string was George Feblis and his brother Matt. So they were 8 and I was 18.
That's insane.
Dude.
Isn't that cool?
Would you argue that track is the best sport?
All sport is good. All sport can, at some point, it only takes a moment to make a catch that'll last your lifetime. It only takes a moment to hit a hole as a football player or a hole as a layup, and you just do something that you were only dreaming about, and it changes your confidence level to a whole new belief in yourself. So track sends you out on your own with your thoughts for long periods of time, and you can wrestle with yourself and your emotions and find a peace that comes with running longer distances or beating somebody in a race. If you beat your older brother by like just a teeny bit, you're the greatest athlete in the history of the world. So sport is important because on a moment, on a dime, it can change your whole perception of yourself, and I think that's what I think is a great gift you can give. Persistence, keep at it.
For sure.
You never know. Like tennis, really hard game. Take a lesson, all of a sudden you start hitting it and you beat somebody and you're like, I'm good at this.
I don't think I'll ever, same with Peter, I don't think I'll ever get past the learning curve for golf, ever. It's never going to happen.
I've learned that I can hit the ball straight like 20% of the time when I'm chipping, and then 0% of the time when I'm off the tee.
I'm atrocious.
Take a lesson.
You're a big golfer?
I've never taken a lesson, to be fair. But I'm pretty atrocious.
Take a lesson. I took my second lesson of my life this summer.
Really?
You a good golfer?
Okay.
What's your handicap?
2 lessons. He's 2 lessons in.
I'm a 15.
That's a lot better than me.
I did caddy for a pro.
Of course.
Let's go.
Of course he caddied for a pro. I mean,
Mr. Jennings, who'd you caddy for?
I caddied for Jim Albus and Tom Delaney. Okay, they were the head pro and assistant pro at the Piping Rock Club, and I would be their tournament caddy for the Med Open, the assistant pro Med Open. So my parents moved out to Long Island when I was college age, and didn't have a car, didn't have anything. Queens kid, Inwood kid, and that my father said, "Go there, make some money, go caddy." What's caddy? We used to call.
It's a tough job.
How we played golf growing up was when I was running in high school, we'd be at Van Cortlandt Park and you'd find golf balls in the woods, and you'd wait for the people to get on the green, and we'd all hide behind the bushes, and then we would throw the golf balls at them and yell 4, and they would scatter like roaches, and that was golf.
Oh yeah.
So here's my parents moved out to Long Island, and it's like, so I went over to the golf course, and they said, "Have you ever caddied before?" "No." "If you play golf before?" "No." "Okay, we'll call you when we need you." And and the next thing you know, 2 weeks later or a week later, they called me and said, "We need you," and it was actually for Mr. and Mrs. Gimble of Gimble's department store fame, and they were playing golf with Joan Fontaine, who was with the Academy Award winner that previous 2 years ago. And so I got to caddy for Joan.
You seem to fall into like the craziest
As
scenarios.
my brother says, I'm always stepping in it.
Actually,
You know.
What do you? Okay, I just have a question. Like, I know this is kind of a hard question, but like, what is like the craziest of those scenarios that you think you fell into like that?
That's my question, I think.
Craziest scenario? Let's see. Meeting my wife.
That's a
You
good
know,
one.
lied to get the job. Said I could do this, I could do that. I couldn't do any of that. But just it was a big step up, and just being at work and watching her walk by me one day. Just like that dolly moment, you're dollying it out. Your life is changing, and it's time. You have to listen to yourself. And just in passing her by, knowing she's on this floor, she must work for this company. And I just knew at that moment she's the one. I don't know how or why or what have you, but I knew she was the one, and I can pretty much tell you what she was wearing to this day. But that was probably the most fortunate moment, besides kids or working here. This is quite the day before I worked here. I got the call from Mr. Gomprecht. I like to, you'll see me at times stand outside of classrooms and listen to the teachers because I'm always learning from them. And I was standing outside a religion classroom at Mount St. Michael, and I thought to myself, I'd be a good religion teacher. I'm better than that. And so sure enough, the next day, Mr. Gomprecht calls and says, we have an opening in our history department. We'd like to have you, but there's one caveat. You might probably have to teach a religion class. Now you go back to that commercial, where do you see yourself the first time? I knew. The day before, can you teach a religion class? I was just thinking about that yesterday. And so I said, they love me here at Mount, and I love Mount, but I'm Jesuit all the way.
See you later.
All the way. Like, what was I thinking, So that too, I've had the first commercial, right? How do you walk home after knowing that every girl who broke up with you is now going to see you on TV?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
So anybody who dissed you or made fun of you for quitting what you were doing,
Chuck Murphy.
that
Not Chuck Murphy.
that
Chuck
The
Sumner?
kid that threw the apple.
yeah, right. Chucky Watson.
Watching
Chucky
TV
Watson.
by himself at home.
So
that
so
Mr.
all those slights or all the people who didn't believe in you, suddenly now it's like, is that you? Like your whole old neighborhood that made fun of you, like you're gonna be an actor, And but you believe in yourself, so you have to follow your heart. You have to follow your prayers and hopes and dreams. And so I think that's been one of the blessings is I've had a good spirit in me that keeps guiding me properly, hopefully. And you just have to listen and know when it's time. What are you doing today? Kind of thing. Are you listening to yourself, or are you listening to others?
Mm-hmm.
So I think if you really listen to yourself, you'll be happier.
Yeah.
Sorry,
yeah, go ahead.
I mean, I feel like I've been asking a lot of questions.
No, I mean, I was just going to ask, you think you've gotten to this point in your life by planning or by just, kind of going with the flow? And
I'm like
letting things
Forrest
happen?
Gump,
All right.
Yeah.
Some's fate and some's destiny.
Yeah.
So you hope for the best, you pray for the best, and, hopefully it happens. If not, you make the best of what God gives you.
Mm-hmm.
And I have a question, I think, kind of related to that. What was, like, in your acting career, at least, what was, like, the I made it moment? Like, where you were like I did it,
Kind of a fun question.
Thank you.
When my
He
first,
doesn't get that a lot.
When our oldest son was born, we all went back to all my cousins. Everybody came to the hospital. I'd say there was 15, 16 of us, and we said, let's go get some dinner together because we're all here. And we go into a bar, and they say, for 17 people, it's gonna take us a few minutes. Just have a drink at the bar, and we'll set some table. We'll be right with you. And I think it was 4 of my commercials came on in a row.
Oh my gosh.
On the screen behind the bar, and of course, every bartender and waiter and waitress wants to be an actor. And 1, 2, 3, 4. And the place is now, my cousins are all going wild. The people who work there are like, oh my God, who is this guy? So that was kind of interesting. And then you would have signed people would ask you for your autograph, and you would say, you know me? Get a life in your head, you know? And like, if you know me, like, you don't really have much going on. And so you would sign it and be quite surprised that they would know who I was on the other show, or they would know that I was on the they go, no, you're the no guy, but you're on this show, you know, and so can we have your autograph? And I'd be like, oh, yeah. So, so those were kind of humbling moments, because I sort of felt bad for them. You know, if you know me, then you spend all your time watching these TV shows. Like, you watch too much television. I am not that famous.
I mean,
I am
Coke
not
City Bank.
a celebrity, though, you know. So that was a wonderful moment that night with my family there.
Yeah.
But I can also tell you that my father, one time, 3 of my commercials ran in a row, and he was, get out of my house, get a right job. That's not a real job, even though, because I was just saying, I just made $1,000, you know, and it upset him that I didn't have a right job. Meanwhile, I wanted to be a teacher to begin with, you know, but that was difficult for him to understand, that you should do what you want to do, not what he wants you to do, you know. And so that was. So here's a similar moment, same situation, same things are happening, and one it's joy and one it's pain. And so, how do you can't please others? You have to please. You do what's best for you, you know. So I've always, that's sort of you keep that in your heart, in your head, and do the best you can, you know, with what God gives you, you know. So.
How are we doing on time, Colin?
I could always go more, but if you got to run.
If you got to run.
Yeah, I have practice.
Okay. So all right. He's got to run.
Gotta run. Gotta get my steps in.
Okay, great.
So,
that picture, when we get, so for those of you guys that don't know what that is, that's the picture with us and Doc Carney, who was our last guest, and they sign it. So we print out the photo and they sign it.
So we're gonna
Mr. Jennings, we're going to be selling on eBay. So we won't see a picture of him up there, but. Okay, no, we'll take one.
That's a great headshot. I hope you.
I gotta see the rest of this one.
I hope you don't think we're losers for asking for your autograph.
No.
Well,
during finals, remember we used to have, like, you had to be really quiet in the library, and before you guys came, I used to just walk around and sign my name on a piece of paper and say, and on the piece of paper it says, "There's no talking, but you now have my autograph. So please stop talking." You know, they were like, "Are you an idiot?" No. That's fun.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Respect your practice
my gosh, this
time.
is great.
Okay, thanks, guys.
Thank you guys for all watching. I mean, the response has been amazing over the last two episodes, last season. I mean, everything's been great.
Yeah, it's a good format you guys have, and I think we need to really have it publicized more. You have this wonderful energy, and it has led you to be so vibrant and enthusiastic about all that you do, and it's really a pleasure, really, to sit with you guys today and watch your energy and spirit shine. So I thank you for inviting me, but I really appreciate the friendships, in a sense, that are formed, and the energy of this room with you guys. So thank you.
Thank you
so much. Oh my gosh.
It's like the best compliment I've ever been
My
given.
year has been made.
Oh, you're good.
Oh my God.
There you go. All right. So we're cut.
We're done. Yeah.
We're done.
All right. Thanks.
Thank you guys for watching.
Thank you so much.